Kia ora, good evening. Southport has announced a record profit of $6.5 million for the year ending June. That result is up 4% on the last record profit of 2011. The company says a slowdown in production at New Zealand aluminium smelters had a flow-on effect for Southport, but was offset by a diversified trading base. The port also saw cargo volumes fall 7%, largely due to the smelter, but stock food and wood chips also saw falls. Meanwhile, fertiliser product and logs made gains. The improved result has also been mirrored in dividends, which have increased 10% to 22 cents a share. And Sarah Bedford spoke to Southport Chief Executive Mark O'Connor about how the result was achieved.
We saw some very strong bulk cargo volumes and also managed to warehouse greater volumes of both dry product and cold product. So there were some slower moving patterns of product moving into the export market, and that meant they were in store longer, and that generated more income for Southport.
Has it been a challenging year?
It's been an unusual year. There's been some positives and a number of negatives. Apart from the recent events in the dairy sector, the previous 12 months in our financial year, which runs from July to June, saw product moving into the markets quite rapidly, and that meant there wasn't as much warehousing requirement by the likes of Fonterra. So that actually reduced some of our dry warehousing activity.
So for Southport, cargo volume was actually down in this last financial year. How have you managed to make an improved profit then?
Well, the biggest chunk of that cargo decline related to NZAS activity, and that business was still operating at 15% below their normal operating capacity. So of the 180,000 tonne cargo decline that was recorded, 100,000 tonnes was attributable to NZAS. The other two big cargo components that saw declines were wood chips, and also stock food was back.
So how much has the Tiwai situation actually impacted for Southport?
NZAS contributes in two ways to our business. The first way is through leasing infrastructure. The Tiwai Wharf is owned by Southport and made available to NZAS to operate. And the other main income stream is the ships coming and going from the port that carry NZAS cargo. So the provision of the infrastructure wasn't impacted, but the number of ships calling did actually have a negative effect on our bottom line.
So what do you think will happen now that the situation between Tiwai and Meridian has been resolved? What impact do you think it will have for Southport?
Well, it does provide some stability for the short to medium term. There are a number of questions going forward that the NZAS business still needs to address, and they're clearly working on that going forward. But it just provides some breathing space for the business to perhaps consolidate and try and get on a firm footing to be competitive in international markets going forward.
Now, for Southport, what's the outlook into the future, do you think?
Still encouraged by the agricultural activity in the Southland region. There's certainly good foundation for both the dairy and sheep and beef sectors. Forestry shows some good potential in the next 5 to 10 years with some quite significant ramp-ups in harvesting activity, probably 5 years out. So overall we're still optimistic about the growth that can be delivered within this part of the world. There's a few other unknowns still in terms of mineral and perhaps coal developments, and Great South Basin could still be an element in the Southland region and our business.
Labour Party leader David Shearer today announced his resignation as party leader. Mr Shearer says he realises he no longer has the confidence of a number of his caucus colleagues. He's held the role of opposition leader for 20 months and says it's been a challenging time. Mr Shearer says it's time for someone else to lead the party through to 2014. He will still hold his position as MP for Mount Albert. At a media conference, Mr Shearer told media his resignation will be effective once a new Labour Party leader is elected. Organisers of an inaugural yacht race from Auckland to Bluff are busy working to confirm entrants for the event. At least 15 boat entries must be confirmed 6 months out from the race, set to take place next February, in order to obtain $440,000 in government funding. A to B ocean race organiser Murray Francis says two boats have officially confirmed they'll start in the 1100 nautical mile race, although 11 boats have registered interest. Invercargill City Council has committed $280,000 for the race. $50,000 is confirmed from Community Trust of Southland, and $50,000 from ILT is still subject to meeting requirements. Auckland City Council has been asked for a monetary contribution, and an announcement was due last Friday, but there's been no response regarding a decision. A petition asking Invercargill City Council to reconsider narrowing D and Tay streets was presented to Invercargill Mayor Tim Shadbolt today. The petition, organised by local business owner Neil Thomas, attracted 1,034 signatures. Mr Thomas has been collecting signatures for the past 2 weeks. He says the proposed change would cause people to avoid the area, hurting his business and others. Mr Shadbolt says it was amazing to see such a strong response in such a short time. He will present the petition as a supplementary Mayor's report at the next full council meeting next Tuesday. Stay with us after the break. Changes lie ahead for an Invercargill street with residents fed up with traffic. Welcome back. Fox Street residents could soon find their street as quieter, smoother and has less traffic with the introduction of a series of measures designed to reduce the volume of bypass traffic using Fox Street rather than Victoria Avenue, following opposition to a proposed bylaw. The bylaw proposed several measures, including opening times for the street. The issue was contentious for those in the area, with nearby Business Park residents wanting Fox Street left open, while residential residents wanted it closed completely. City Council intends to introduce several measures to reduce traffic flow, including new heavy traffic bypass signage, better heavy traffic access to Victoria Avenue, Fox Street road resurface improvements and traffic education. Clarifying exactly where the heavy traffic bypass lies is the first step in diverting traffic away from Fox Street.
So with the installation of the traffic lights on Fox and D streets, it certainly made it easier for trucks to turn there. And the situation was made a lot worse when Victoria Avenue was dug up for some urgent water main works. And so traffic had nowhere else to go but through the subdivision and along Fox Street. So if the signage is improved, we've got some work to do on making the turns from D Street onto Victoria Avenue better, and also on the Bond Street Victoria Avenue link better. We'll reduce, we believe, the amount of through traffic. We also look at some surfacing work in Fox Street to reduce the vibration.
How much of an impact can surfacing work have on noise reduction?
Well, we believe it'll make a bit of a difference. We can't take away all the noise, obviously, and we do know from our measurements that there is traffic there, and of course it was always expected that when the subdivision, the business park was consented, that it would in fact generate traffic. But we think that some of the vibration that comes from vehicles on the slightly roughened surface will be reduced.
Have you had any reaction from business park operators when they came into the business park? Part of the appeal was having the two entrances and having that heavy traffic access from D Street directly.
A number of the submitters from the business park said that was principally why they'd set up business there, that the ease of access made it attractive to them.
And so what sort of reaction are you expecting from them if you're deterring heavy traffic from going down Fox Street?
Well, we still expect heavy traffic that is destined for the business park to go down through Fox Street. That certainly won't change. It's the bypass traffic, or the traffic that didn't have any reason to go into the business park, that we want to continue down and along Victoria Avenue and down along Bond Street.
You've already spoken to some transport operators and you're seeing an improvement already?
That's true. We asked them, and of course with all the publicity that the bylaw process has generated, we've seen a significant reduction in the heavy vehicles, and it was principally the heavy vehicles that were causing the irritation, but we've seen a big reduction, and we're certainly grateful for their cooperation.
Minister of Māori Affairs and Associate Education Minister Peter Sharples was visiting Invercargill's Te Wharekura o Arowhenua today. He says education was the focus of his trip to the Deep South. Sarah Bedford spoke to him about challenges for Māori education and for kura kaupapa.
For a young person to grow up speaking Māori in a city like this, television's mostly English, shops speak in English, the playground is full of English in different areas wherever you go. So that's what the biggest challenge is for the kura, to retain the Māori speaking environment in here, so that they can get used to thinking in Māori and speaking in Māori. And also, I guess, kuras are growing, and there's just about 100 if you look at all types of kuras that there are. So yeah, I'm very pleased with the way it's going.
Now, kora kaupapa schools are seeing better results for Māori students than state.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Why do you think that is, and what do you think we need to do there?
I don't know. I'm so pleased with the results of kura kaupapa Māori, and I see in the NCEA results, gosh, they really boomed well. I think it's because they're close and they know why they're there at school. They're all there because they have more than just attending class. You're there as a support, a family environment, and you feel part of it. You have an obligation, the older one to teach the little one and be an example. So it's a whole sort of family kind of thing, and I think that there's pressure on the older ones therefore to learn, and it's a good learning environment.
How long do you think before we can actually see Māori achievement equal that of the national levels?
You're really talking about the mainstream schools now, because you're talking about literacy, numeracy, and at the moment there is very big need to increase the literacy ability of Māori children in state schools in the early years. And that's what we've been concentrating on. We've got I put out a emphasis on a reading program for new kids, reading together, and it was compulsory, and it's compulsory now in all decile 1, 2 and 3 schools. And Māori and Pacific Island and even English children are benefiting from that program, because it brings the parents in and involves them in the learning, and so they understand how important it is to be able to speak and understand and analyse stuff, when they're young. So now it's going to be, we're looking at to introduce it to level decile 4 and 5. So more kids get it still. So yeah, these are little things, I suppose, but they help. And there is that gap, so that's what we've got to work on.
Fonterra today introduced a program to provide additional quality assurance for its nutritional plants. The move follows the recent precautionary recall of whey protein concentrate. Fonterra Chief Executive Teo Spearing says it's important to give people the confidence that Fonterra is going above and beyond world best practice in terms of quality and food safety systems and processes. He says Fonterra will check, double check and triple check if necessary. The additional quality assurance at Hautapu and 5 other nutritional plants over coming months will encompass further checking and servicing of all equipment and processes. And that's it from news. Coming up in sports, Southland stag Cardiff Vainga and technical advisor Hoani McDonald. From the news team, good night.